In this lesson, we are going to look at angle properties of parallel lines. First of all, we are going to look at corresponding angles. We said that corresponding angles, these are angles formed on the same sides of the transversal with the parallel lines and are equal. So line AB is parallel to line CD and line EF is the transversal line. So the angle formed on one side of the transversal line with the parallel lines are equal. So let's look at the first pair. We see that angle BGE is congruent to angle DHG. In other words, angle BGE is equal to angle DHG. You can see that we have 68, 68. You see, once we change the positioning of the parallel lines, the angles keep changing, but they remain the same. Let's look at pair 2. We see that angle BGH is also congruent or equal to angle DHF. So we have 114 degrees and 114 degrees. So we can change the positioning to also verify. But we realize that once the positioning of the parallel lines changes, the angles remain the same. Let's look at pair 3. We also see that angle AGE is also congruent or equal to angle CHG. So we have 114 degrees and 114 degrees. We can verify. And let's look at the pair 4. So we see that angle AGH is congruent to angle CHF. We have 69 degrees and 69 degrees. So we can see that angle BGE is congruent to angle DHG. So we can see the red colors. We can also see that angle BGH is congruent to angle DHF. 107 degrees and we have 107 degrees. We can see that angle AGE is also congruent to angle CHG. So we have this. We can see that angle CHF is congruent to angle AGH. So let's verify. As we change the positioning, the angles remains the same. Let's look at alternate interior angles. These are pairs of interior angles on opposite sides of the transversal and are equal. These are pairs of exterior angles on opposite sides of the transversal and are equal. So they are exterior, meaning outside the parallel lines, and they are on opposite side and they are also congruent. So let's look at pair 1. So we see that angle BGE is congruent to angle CHF. So let's look at pair 1. So we can see that this angle is congruent to this angle. So angle BGH is congruent to angle CHG. So these are the interior because they are inside the parallel lines and they are also on opposite side of the transversal line. Let's look at the pair 2. So we can also see that angle AGH is also congruent to angle DHG. So we have 66 degrees and 66 degrees. You see, once we change the positioning of the parallel lines, the angles keep changing but remain the same. They are still congruent. We have angle BGE, which is alternate to angle CHF. So we have 72 degrees and 72 degrees. So consider the Z shape. So looking at the Z shape, we have this one. So the angle formed outside. Let's look at alternate exterior angles. These are pairs of exterior angles on opposite sides of the transversal and are equal. So let's look at the first pair. We see that the line with the transversal and are alternate, these angles are equal. So once we change the positioning of the two parallel lines, the angles remain the same. Let's look at the other pair. So we can see that angle AGE is also alternate to angle DHF. So we have 112 degrees and 112 degrees. So looking at the Z shape, we have the angle that form outside the Z shape, these angles are equal. Let's look at the co-interior angles. These are pairs of interior angles on the same sides of the transversal. They sum up to 180 degrees, or their sum is supplementary. So let's look at the first pair. So we see that angle BGH plus angle DHG is given as 180 degrees. So 111 degrees plus 69 degrees is given as 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Also, let's look at the second pair. So we see that angle AGH plus angle CHG is also given as 180 degrees. So we have 111 degrees plus 69 degrees, and it is given as 180 degrees. So we can change the positioning, but still the sum of the interior angles, the co-interior angles, gives us 180 degrees. This angle plus this angle and this angle plus this angle is given us 180 degrees. So these are